Hey everybody, live from the Scheinfeld Center's Innovator Studio at Santa Barbara City College. It's the Enlightened Entrepreneurship podcast where we inform and inspire Gen Z to become more entrepreneurial and innovative in our global economy. My name is Julie Sampson, and I serve as director here at the Scheinfeld Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. And we're kicking off our podcast focused on Gen Z and entrepreneurship. So it's relevant to start with the question, who is Gen Z really? So to help us get there, joining us are three up-and-coming Gen Z entrepreneurs. Let me introduce them. So first of all, we have Maria Carolina Barrak de Rezende, also known as Carol. She's a business major and marketing intern at the Scheinfeld Center, and she plans to carry on her family's lineage of entrepreneurship by following the footsteps of her grandfather, mother, and father. And she's coming to us from Brazil today. So give a wave, Carol.
Hi.
And and then we have with us Abel Rodrigues, who is an engineering student and entrepreneur who set out to take on the rough markets of Angola as CEO and founder of Propriamisha Lottery. He placed first in the Scheinfeld New Venture Challenge in 2019, and he's coming to us from Luanda, Angola. And give a wave.
Hi.
And then Adam Verhasselt is a visual designer and video creator specializing in animated artwork for musicians as founder and creative director at Flux Visual. He's a two-time winner of the Scheinfeld New Venture Challenge, including taking first place in 2020. And he's coming to us from the USA. So welcome all of you, and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
So to start in, we know that Gen Z is technically born between 1996 and 2015. And so that means they're currently between 5 to 24 years of age. And so let's start off with, where do all of you fall into that spectrum? So Carol, do you want to start off? How old are you?
I'm 22 years old. I started thinking of business and entrepreneurship and everything related to that because all my family always been on this path. Even my grandfather, he's an immigrant from Lebanon. He came to Brazil, he built his own business, and all my family followed the same path as my mom, my father. So they always had taught me all the same things about it. And for sure, I think that's my future goal, is to have a business. And yeah, I think that's it.
Excellent. Thank you, Carol. How about you, Abel?
I'm 22, turning 23 in October. My journey was a bit different. You know, my father is a businessman, and but I didn't really grow up with him, so I didn't really have a lot of contact with business. So in my house, it was like, go to school and get a good job. That was basically it. And I just developed this interest for business, you know, while doing engineering, while studying. I just decided that I wanted to do something for myself.
Yeah, awesome. Great, thank you, Abel. And so Adam, how about you?
Yeah, hi, I'm Adam. I'm 22, turning 23 in November. And I think that our generation is so aware of the amount of information available. We are in the information age, and like anything you want to learn, you can learn. Anybody you want to contact, in theory, you can contact. So I think that's one thing that really inspired me to go into entrepreneurship and believe that I could do it. I mean, luckily I was born in America, which is like one step that I walk outside my door and there's a chance for opportunity. But the fact that I can go on the internet and find anyone and learn anything is, I think it's a game changer. And I think a lot of people from my generation, and even the ones, you know, below, a little people that are younger than me, feel that even stronger. Yeah.
Yeah. What are like the top 3 words that you would pick that best represent Gen Z?
Maybe it'll be biased, but I'd say optimistic, creative, and resourceful. I think there's a lot of people that can find easy ways to do things that might not be the traditional way, but can be quicker and better ultimately in our generation.
I would say innovation. I think a lot of people are always in our age are always creating new things, bringing up new things for the world, you know. And I think definitely technology. I think technology has grown with our generation a lot since the beginning. So
Yeah.
I think I couldn't miss this word. And the third one, I would say bold, brave. You know, a lot of people in our age, they are not scared of saying what they think, what they want. And I think that's really important because I believe it relates a lot. If you want to build a business, if you want to start something, you just have to go on and don't have fear.
I would say innovative, definitely, because we tend to create new things and think differently. I would also say thoughtful. We're the generation that tends to think about others and be kind of nice and kind and all those things. And definitely bold. Bold. I agree with Carol, because we see kids, 10-year-olds opening YouTube channels, and it's just different. It's a different generation. Yeah, definitely.
So, Abel and Carol, I was wondering if you experienced Gen Z consistent between, where you are in Brazil and Angola, compared to the US, or do you see differences between the different countries?
To be honest, I think young people, Generation Z from Brazil are really similar with the USA. As USA, a lot of people here are trying to build their own business. And as we said, because of the technology, we have so much access to technology. We can see what is going on in the world. People are really interested in the economy around the world. So I would need to think more of any difference between the Generation Z from Brazil and from USA, but I think it's really, really similar, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, how about you?
I would agree with Carol. The only difference I would say is that in the US, you have a culture of risk taking. You have a culture of people. Jeff Bezos said when he was testifying, we have this culture of taking risks. And in Angola, I think it's developing. It's coming up now, because people, let's be honest, people don't want to work 9 to 5 their whole lives like their parents did. So might as well take risks while you're young, so you can build something for yourself. And you can see that spirit. A lot of people message me, email me, and asking me for advice and if I wanted to participate in some projects. And I'm seeing. I didn't imagine it would be like. I thought it would be more conservative, but I see a lot of young people out of university, even high school, building their own businesses, burger shops, stuff like that.
So, from your experience, what do you think are the predominant forces that are shaping Gen Z in this way?
I would say one of the biggest forces that's moving Gen Z to go to this entrepreneurial path is, so we're escaping the path of trying to build our parents' dream. I don't know how to put it in words, but many of us, for example, my parents, they live their parents' dreams. So either being a doctor or being a nurse, we want to build our own things. We want to build our own path, our own structures and stuff. And so and entrepreneurship is the way to do that, because you can be your own thing. You can be a YouTuber. You can do e-commerce. You can do whatever you want. So I would say that's the main force that's driving this entrepreneurial wave.
Something that, in my opinion, really influenced us, our generation. Again, because of technology, because of the access we have, social media, we have a lot of models. So many famous entrepreneurs, for example, Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, all this, they are always on social media showing us how to build, how to be always motivated, how to go for it. So I think that helps a lot nowadays. I don't think the past generations had this access as we have, to have a model for the future, to have a plan, to have to see what is going on in the future. So I think it's easier when you have these models for yourself, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. I also think that, we are in this time when, because everything is visible on the internet and so many people are sharing their lives, and yeah, there's like all these, when you first said models, I thought you meant like Instagram influencer models, just like attractive people. And that's a perfect example of, we see this kind of Instagram model that looks a lot like all the other ones. And I think when you see so much of the same thing over and over again, it kind of drives you to want to be different and find something unique about yourself and tell your own story in a way that it hasn't been told yet. Yeah. And that's a huge driving force for me. And I think it is for a lot of our generation. And if you see how diverse people are becoming and how proudly diverse they are, I think it really comes from that, seeing that there's so many cookie cutters out there, and it'd be so cool to stand out. And how do you stand out when everybody's trying to stand out? And I think that is definitely a driving force towards innovation and in our time.
Yeah. That's a really good point, Adam. And that kind of, with everything that all of you have said, it kind of brings me around to then, there's these forces shaping Gen Z, shaping all of you, but then there is the shaping that you're going to be doing in the world, right? So it's like you come back with it, and now you're moving out, and by who you are and what you do, you'll be shaping the world. So what do you think is really important for Gen Z in terms of shaping the world?
Patience. Patience.
Not easy.
I stole that from Gary Vee. I'm gonna admit it, but it's patience. Patience, yeah, I did. But patience is really important. It's something that I'm working on, but I've improved dramatically. When I thought I was gonna be a billionaire by now, but it's not that easy. It's not that simple, and we do lack in patience. We have to. Big things take time. If you wanna build a house, it takes time. If you want to build a company, it takes time. And we have to, I think it's because, like Adam said, we have so much information at the same time. And we see so many models, like Carol said, that already achieved those things. So we think that we can do it. We have to do it right now. At 23, you have to be Zuckerberg. And right. It doesn't always happen that way. Most times it doesn't happen that way.
Right. Really good point. So I'm actually so hopeful for what you're saying, because if it's true what's going on and Gen Z is so entrepreneurial, and like Adam was saying, it's really pushing the creativity bubble, and as a natural outcome of being an entrepreneur, it needs to draw on patience, like Abel is saying. I'm really hopeful then that we're moving towards a more patient world. That would be oh so nice, especially these days with everything that's going on. That's great. Yeah. So Carol, what are your thoughts?
I think it's important, to have a goal, and, that's the first thing. When you have a goal, a lot of people are like, I'm going to do anything to achieve this goal, to get my work done, and to be successful. So that's the first step, I would say, as completing as what Adam said. We see so many people big nowadays with huge business, and you go into Instagram, you see, all this huge and successful people, and you want to be like them, you want to create something like them, you want to do it too, So I think that's really important to start something. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I really like what you're saying, Carol, this goal orientation of entrepreneurs. I think that's really important for Gen Z, because how many distractions are there? I mean, right from the moment you wake up in the morning, to when you lay your head down to bed, there's so much distraction that we're all faced with. And part of entrepreneurship is being able to actively decide where you're going to put your time, your attention, your resources. And so this goal orientation can really help Gen Z then leverage the opportunity that they have and actually create something with it, rather than getting lost in all the different ways we can get lost during the day, all the different rabbit holes we can go down, right? Awesome, thanks. How about you, Adam?
Well, thinking about how, success, I think a really cool thing about our generation, at least in my friend circle, is we look at success as not just money. I mean, money is a big deal, but there's a lot of rich people that aren't that happy or that, destroy parts of the environment. And now you see all these companies that are trying to, go carbon neutral or show that they're green. And you see people who are super successful by just traveling the world and living in their van and living like this dream life, doing what they love, and they can support that by doing things that they like photography and sharing it online. And I think that we are kind of being broken open to the idea that success isn't big cars and boats and everything necessarily. It's also just like taking what you have and making the most of it. And all that value that you bring to the world is just kind of pouring back in your direction when you learn to share it the right way. And I think that's so cool that we can kind of define our own sense of what success is in our own lives, and that we have all these role models to do that for us as well.
Yes. Yeah, I really like your point, because one of the things that I hear about Gen Z is that along with all this opportunity, that there's actually a pretty high level of anxiety. And also, even though we're so connected, a sense of loneliness actually comes up quite a bit in terms of, what's shaping Gen Z. And so I think what you're talking about, Adam, in terms of being able to take your focus and structure your life according to what really matters to oneself, and the impact that they want to create, that one wants to create in the world. I think that that's what can really contribute to a sense of well-being overall in the long term.
It's so hard not to compare yourself these days, because you see constant things to compare yourself to. And that's what we do. We're social creatures. So we naturally compare ourselves to everything. That's what, to fit in or to stand out or whatever it is you want to do. And it totally gets in the way of happiness. You can't necessarily be happy if you're constantly comparing yourself. And I think actually it is really hard for us as humans, or just in Generation Z, to figure out what we want to do. But if you can figure out what you actually want in comparison to what everybody else wants or says they want, then it's a lot easier to be happy and to work towards it without distraction.
Yeah.
Abel, Carol, did you have anything to add to that? Just agreeing.
I agree. Yeah, comparing will make your life miserable.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Same, yeah, I 100% agree.
What is it that supporters of Gen Z entrepreneurs, so entrepreneurial centers like the Scheinfeld Center, faculty, mentors of Gen Z entrepreneurs, what is it that you would like to say to them, that in terms of what it is that you really need, the best support that would help you really carry all the strength and vitality and opportunities that you have forward, to really create the most positive impact in the world? What is it that you'd like to say?
I think, of course, you can't start anything. You need to start everything by yourself if you want to start something. But definitely all these supporters, they have helped a lot of people from my age, the Generation Z, because coming back to what you said before, you need to have knowledge. You need to know what you're doing. So who is going to teach us? Who's going to give us a path, tell us what to do, how to start? I think it's important to have this supporters, this even the Scheinfeld Center. When I started SBCC in 2018, I didn't know about Scheinfeld Center, and on my second semester, I learned about it, and I right away I went to it, and I just felt like the entrepreneurship club, the classes that I was taking because I'm a business major. So all those things, I just felt like I have people that have the same mentality as mine, that has the same thoughts as mine, the same goals as mine. So it's easier to achieve your goals, to keep doing it, and to discuss. Like it's good to talk about what you think about your ideas with some other people. So that's really important for us, I guess. That's my opinion.
That's a really good point, Carol. I believe the author's name is Stephen Johnson, who wrote where good ideas come from. That's the very point that he makes, is that if you look back over time through history, some of the really major advances that have impacted us happened out of things that were facilitating people coming together to interact, and so ideas, resources, they all proliferate through connections. So that's a really great point. Adam, what about you?
If we're talking about what teachers and mentors could give to other young entrepreneurs, I mean, the biggest problem I see in learning and just growing is communication. It's really hard to communicate your idea. And that's something I learned in your class, Julie. Like I have this idea, it's so clear in my head. I don't even know that it's not getting across. And so a big part is like learning to communicate, teaching somebody how to communicate, but you can't just teach someone. Somebody has to kind of learn. It's like riding a bike, it's something that you're practicing every day. And one like essential piece is like a sandwich, criticism sandwich for everything. I love them. So like if somebody comes to you with an idea and there's huge holes in it that like right away you hear it and you think, oh, well, that's not going to work. Then the first thing you want to say is, that's a cool idea. Like, thanks for bringing it to me. This is the part that I don't really understand or I think could have some problems, but I encourage you to continue working on it. And I look forward to hearing what you come up with. Like if you can give somebody a criticism sandwich for lunch every day, then you're helping them. You're helping them evolve and improve, which is like what we want to do as entrepreneurs, but you're still encouraging them because it is discouraging to hear problems with your idea. Like it knocks you down a little bit. But if you have that sandwich, if you have the lift up, it's so much easier to continue.
That's so great, Adam. Yeah, because you do need that reality check, and at the same time, you need that support of your inspiration and your creativity. So that's a really good suggestion. Thank you. And Abel, what about you?
I would agree with Adam and say I was gonna say tough love. Give them the truth. Be honest with them. If you think something's wrong, tell them. Because it's good. It's good for you because it gives you a thick skin. Because I do think that our generation is too nice sometimes. We're too nice with each other. We're too soft, and life's not easy. Life's brutal. Life kills you, and we need to not to abuse, not to insult people, but to give them that honest and pure truth. That's what I like. That's what I think people should.
Yeah, really good point. If our audience would like to connect with you and learn more about what you're doing, how is it that they can connect with you?
I have my Instagram. I have my LinkedIn. I think those are the two social media that I most use for connecting with people with.
I have a website for my company that would be awesome if you want to check it out. It's called Velux Visual. So that's VLUX visual.com. And you can see what we're doing. It's pretty cool. I'd love to get feedback on it. So if anything's confusing or out of place, let me know. My personal, if you want to reach out to me, it's on Instagram. I'm Adam Velux. As of now, I locked that name down. So Adam VLUX. And if you want one of these super sick rainbow shiny stickers that we just got in, just send me a message and ask for one and I'll send you one.
Okay, and Abel, how about you?
So I'm a hard guy to contact, but I'll I'll do whatever it takes. I usually respond better on Instagram, so it's PAI Abel, so it's Pi Abel. So yeah, if you want to reach, and you have also my LinkedIn is also on my Instagram, so if you want to reach out to me, yeah, that'll be fine.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we thank you for joining us for our kickoff of the Enlightened Entrepreneurs podcast. And for our listeners, we invite you to join us next Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific for our second episode of the Enlightened Entrepreneur podcast, when we'll further our conversation exploring Gen Z and the COVID-19 effect. How is COVID-19 affecting them as aspiring entrepreneurs and in their lives in general? In the meantime, connect with us on Instagram and our website. The links will be in the description. Until then, have a great week, everybody. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Okay.